And now we are listen to FSHD Europe and FSHD European Trial Network. So welcome Sheila Hawkins, the president of the FSHD Europe. She's fabulous, and when you are done talking to her about FSHD Europe, you can also talk about her with accessible clothing. And on her left side, we have Professor Nicol Voermans. She's amazing. She's our advisor for both FSHD Europe and the ETN network. And if you don't have any questions about FSHD to Nicol anymore, you can talk to her about her tennis arm. So very welcome, and we will have 25 minutes so they can do their speak, and then we will have a Q&A for 10 minutes.
Thank you. Just waiting for them to load up the screen, so we should be ready soon.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Still sparkling.
Sparkling, please.
Sparkling. Perfect.
Great service here.
Thank you. I've been practicing.
Oh,
Yes.
that would
Oh
help.
yeah, here. Yeah.
We didn't have that. Can this one also be switched on?
I think.
And they're really bright lights, so we can't see anyone at the back.
No, it's really bright.
And I just want to say that we didn't have this service at the International Research Conference.
We ready? Dear me. Well, just technical problems. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
Do they have
It's quite frustrating. We can see our slides, but they're not on the screen, so we don't start till we can show them to you.
But I think we could also try to do without Sheila.
Yes, we could. And just as, yes, I think so. We'll start. So, as Caroline said, I'm Sheila Hawkins, President of FSHD Europe, and this is Nicol, who's the chair of the European Trial Network, and we work collaboratively together, as which we'll talk about. I'll show you later. So FSHD Europe was founded in 2010 and is registered in the Netherlands. It's an organisation. Thank you. Is that better? Organisation made up of patient organisations across Europe. So I can't talk without the slides. We started with about 6 organisations, and we now have 14 members from 12 different countries. So yes, we're a not-for-profit, and for those of you who like to know the order of things, that's our registration number in the Netherlands. So, whoops. Is that better? Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So this is when we last met in October last year, and our aim is to improve the quality of life. We want to facilitate diagnosis and treatment, but we also recognise that we want people to live their best lives now. So as really well illustrated by the films. So if we move on. Right. So we're a proper organisation, just to show our organisational structure. We have a general assembly, and the people who are members of that assembly are wearing blue lanyards. So, and then we have an executive team. So myself as president, Caroline as vice president. Our treasurer, Andrew, isn't able to be with us today, but our secretary, Sylvie, is somewhere in the room. I saw her earlier, over there. And we have two other members, Maria Gomez-Rodolfo, who's here, and Patricia from Denmark, and I can't see her. I can't see the light through the lights.
It's
Over there.
there on the right side for the audience, left for us.
Okay, so yes, there's lots of us about. If you want to learn anything about the organisation, talk to anyone with a blue badge, and if you want to become a member, talk to Caroline. Other people who are involved, Nicol, who's the European Trial Network chair, Ria, who you met earlier, our chief executive officer, and again, I can't see her.
Well, she's now supporting the AV team.
Oh, right, she's down there, okay. And Julie de Monceau was here for the research conference. I'm not sure if she's here, if she's left. So anyway, we're well connected. We've got lots of people involved, and we've talked about how we're organised, but this is what we do, and that's the more interesting bit. FSH Europe and the European Trial Network really are working towards the same ends, and some of what we do have different work programmes, but it's all to achieve the same thing. So supporting patient organisations, patient education, reaching out to people, and we know that we have stakeholders such as our member organisations, the kind of networks. We've recently developed a relationship with the European Medicines Agency, for example. And we're just developing a patient advisory council, and I'll talk about that in more detail. We work very collaborative with the European Trial Network, so I'll hand over to Nicol for this.
Yes, the European Trial Network was founded in 2021, so 4 years ago. I was invited by Sheila and one of the previous advisors to bring together the clinicians and researchers in different countries in Europe, because a lot of centers are working on the disease mechanism in FSHD, on symptomatic treatments, but they were not working together sufficiently, and we wanted to have a strong European network to make the research more efficient and also to be a strong partner for other international patient organizations. I will get back to the content of that. But in this way, FSHD Europe is a very good collaboration between members from various different European countries, 12 so far, and a collaboration between clinicians and researchers on one side and patients on the other. And that's fully in line with what Marion was telling. We all have our own job to do, and we cannot do it alone. And I truly believe that for the upcoming developments in the field, it's very important that patients participate or engage in research in their own way.
So we're very well connected. We collaborate worldwide. So we're working with other patient organisations such as Solve FSH, which is I think in Canada. We work with the FSHD Society. I think there are people from there today, and we're part of the World FSH Alliance and FSHD Global. And we're very pleased to see our colleagues from across the world. I know there's people from Australia and Canada. So it's we know it's a worldwide community.
Is Emma in the room? Oh, wonderful. Yes. Emma is FSHD Global, almost. Well, there's a lot of people around her, but please go and talk to her and learn from the way she's advocating for people in Australia. And we also collaborate with professional organizations, foremost EuroNMD, and that's an organization launched by the European Union to bring together care for people with rare diseases. And they developed a number of networks. So there's one European network for neuromuscular disorders. And of course, there are many neuromuscular disorders, so they do not focus on FSHD, but we make use of all the services they provide to enhance the field of research for FSHD. And one nice example is that in May, we presented 4 webinars on FSHD. It was one on the genetic diagnosis, one on the clinical care guidelines, one on specific aspects with children with FSHD, and one on the European Trial Network to explain in more detail what we're doing. And these webinars have been recorded and are available on the website of EuroNMD, and they are available for clinicians, researchers, but also for patients. And there might be some parts which you think, well, this doesn't make sense or this is less relevant for me, but I think if you want to learn more about the activities of FSHD Europe and the European Trial Network, or to learn about specific aspects of children with FSHD, these webinars are very interesting. The other organization we're collaborating with is the European Neuromuscular Center. And this is an organization which has existed for over 30 years. And they organize approximately 10 small conferences each year where patients, researchers and clinicians get together to talk about specific topics. And with the European Trial Network, we've made use of this existing European structure to organize a conference about genetic diagnosis, clinical outcome measures, so how should we measure the severity of FSHD, about imaging, so MRI and ultrasound as a measure to assess the severity of FSHD. We're now preparing a workshop together with FSHD Global on advanced care planning, so planning of care in the later stages of life. And this is funded by patient organizations and by companies. So as a researcher, when I make a good plan with a team of other organizers, and it's approved by the research committee, they do all the organization and they pay for it. So it's for us as an organization with so far a limited budget, an ideal way of bringing people together. And it's not only that they organize and pay for it, it's also a quality stamp. If ENMC organizes your conference, it's good quality. Eurordis is a European organization offering trainings for patients advocates to learn more about the research and care for rare diseases. And Ria de Haas is now taking one of these courses in Eurordis, and we aim with the board of FSHD Europe that next year one of the other board members will participate in this course. So the staff of FSHD Europe is educating themselves about this topic. IPATI is one of the other organization in Europe offering even more extensive courses. So if you're interested in learning more about this, you could talk to the national organization in your country and see if that is something you could do in the future. What we show here is the reason why it's so important for clinicians and researchers and patients to work together. That's because there are many upcoming treatments. There are a number of treatments ongoing in different countries now. Some of you might be a participant. And this is maybe not readable if you take a photo of it, but it's an image from the website of FSHD Society where they place this drug development pipeline image and they update it regularly. And there's a growing number of companies, which you can see also by the sponsors of this meeting, and they were also sponsors of the International Research Conference during the past days. And Lucien Ronco of the FSHD Society will present an overview of the ongoing trials tomorrow morning, so you will learn more about it then. Yes. And among the board of FSHD Europe and with clinicians and researchers in the European Trial Network, we've defined a number of challenges for the upcoming years. One of the terms often used is clinical trial readiness. There are already trials ongoing, but we still need to get more ready for them. That means that we know what the disease looks like when there is no treatment for the underlying disease mechanism. So how much does the muscle strength go down in subsequent years? What do people report about the capabilities of what they can do in daily life? And you need to assess that, and we do that in natural history studies. We have a large focus study in the Netherlands where we measure people every 5 years to see how FSHD behaves. And in other countries there are similar initiatives, and maybe some of you are participating. And if you are, please tell other people in this meeting about your experiences. Clinical trial infrastructure needs to be further developed. That means that centers have the ability to perform a trial, because it's different than offering clinical care. You need a trial or research nurse. You need physical therapists who can do the assessments. You need the right appointments with the laboratory, an MRI scan. You need someone to coordinate this all. And in the Netherlands, we have 2 sites, in Nijmegen and Leiden, where we perform FSHD trials. In the northwestern European countries, this is well organized, but for the number of trials upcoming, companies will need more trial sites and more patients entering trials, also in countries which are not doing this at the moment, such as Poland or Austria or other more Eastern European countries. And as patients, you can talk to your national patient organization for neuromuscular diseases and tell them about the importance that this is being developed, and they can stimulate the centers to work on this. And we prefer to work with the Euro-NMD centers. Euro-NMD was this EU-funded European organizations, and they have 83 centers all over Europe focused on neuromuscular conditions, and these centers could typically develop their infrastructure for FSHD trials. Another important aspect is what we call patient involvement, engagement, and participation and availability. It's a number of terms, but what we actually mean is the field does not only need you as a trial participant in the future, but the research field needs you as a co-thinker in research. What are important questions which should be addressed in research? What should companies think about when they develop a trial? What are important aspects from your perspectives? What is it like to live with a chronic condition like FSHD, such as Marion was sharing this morning? And Sheila already mentioned the Patient Advisory Council. This is a way in which you can share your experiences, which are crucial for the companies to learn about. If there would be one therapy approved at a certain point, the company will have to talk to EMA, which is the overarching structure in Europe to get access to the European market. And a subsequent step is that in each country, there should be negotiations take place with the government and the insurance companies whether or not this drug is being covered by the insurance in the specific country. And there, the national patient organizations also play an important role, and you can contribute to that. And finally, treatment readiness. So if there would be a treatment become available, if it is a drug which you can take orally with a tablet, that will be quite not easy, but it will be made available. But if it's an infusion and you need to come back every 6 weeks, you need a lot of nurses and you need hospitals, chairs and beds to be able to do that. So staff in hospitals need to be expanded in order to be able to treat people with that, because that was never available for FSHD. And in parallel to the FSHD field, similar developments also take place in the field of myotonic dystrophy, for example, another neuromuscular condition which is, together with FSHD, the most common condition in adults. And they will face the same challenges. So it's not only for FSHD, but this is actually an additional challenge for the centers. And with your national patient organization, you can address this. You can lobby with the government to show how important it is that they are aware of this, that this is upcoming, that there needs to be more awareness for this. And this is also something Emma can tell you more about, how she's doing it. And I learned from Emma through LinkedIn. Just follow her and then you see everything coming along.
So these are the kind of activities we're delivering over the next 2 or 3 years. So I'll talk about some of them in more detail. But we aim to support patient organisations, and that's why we'd really like to hear from you. If you're setting up an organisation or you want to take it further, please come and talk to us. We have a role in patient education. I'm going to talk about patient registries in a minute. There's work going on about quality of life and care guidelines, and we'll hear more about that tomorrow. Nicol's talked about the clinical trial network. I'm going to talk about the Patient Advisory Council, and then we're doing stuff on governance and sustainability, to secure long-term funding, and to get out and reach everyone. So we're developing our presence on social media. We revamped our website recently. So those are the kind of things we're working on. So patient registries are really important because they're a record of people with FSH and their genetic diagnosis. So when it comes to trials, they might want people with a particular kind of FSH, for example. So we need really good records of what kind of diagnosis people have got. These are usually held in universities or hospitals, and they're really clear guidelines about patient data security. So it's much more than a mailing list, and it's something that should be really well curated and regulated. Even if you're not sure if you want to take part in a trial, it's good to join a patient registry because, one, it helps show the number of people who are living with FSH. So when people think, well, it's a rare disease, there aren't that many people, it's a way of demonstrating there are lots of people, and it's an incentive, to find a treatment because there's a lot of people who will benefit from it. They should provide you with information about what's going on, now and again about newsletters or things about what's happening in trials. And when trials become available, they may well publicise the trial, so they will give you information that you can then make a judgment about whether or not you want to take place. So I'd really recommend that you join your patient registry, and they're all held nationally. They all should ask similar questions so that the data can be analysed at a regional or continental or worldwide level, but they don't share data between countries, so your data will remain in your own country. And I think Helen Walker, who runs the UK trial, is around somewhere today, over there, so she can tell you about the UK registry and how that works. Patient Advisory Council, this is a new development. We're piloting at the moment with one industry partner, but we anticipate having at least another one by the end of the year. And it's a structure for industry to talk to patients and to understand more about what life with FSH is like, what are the issues for patients, what are the things that they want to see from trials, what are the biggest burdens of the condition, how they can be measured, and perhaps how you might know that the treatment was working. What we have is a group of patients who've had some information about trials, so that they've been briefed about the whole processes. And thanks to Nicole and Ria for this.
Or Peter, for example, I see him sitting here.
Okay.
You participated. Well, can you make who you are so people come to you afterwards? Peter participated last weekend in one of the meetings with a company, sharing his experiences, and we heard back through Ria that it was very useful. Yes. So so I think there are about 4 or 5 people who are in the first pilot who are here. So you can talk to them. What we would do is make some preparation for people so that they understand something of the process of drug development and trials, and then the drugs company will talk to a small group of people online, and we anticipate that they'll meet several times over the course of preparing for the next stage of trials. So it's a great opportunity for us as patients to influence the companies to make sure that the trials are, measure the things that matter and are delivered in a way that are easier for people to participate. I thought it was great that Marion's film, there were people who couldn't come because they've got a life, they're doing other things. And we have to recognise that with trials as well, that, being on a trial is can be quite a commitment. And we want the trials to be designed in ways to make it easier for people to participate. And then the clinical trial network is once more on here, but I think I already alluded to that in the previous slides. And what I would like to point out is that it's not only working, we're also having a lot of fun and we're learning a lot of things. And here you see some photographs of activities of the past year. The board of FSHD Europe met to talk about the new organizational structure and strategy in Paris last year, but we did not only talk about it, and you see that on the upper images where Kees de Graaf is making notes. He's a very good project leader. But we also visited the laboratory of the Muscle Research Institute in Paris, and we're told a lot of things about muscle cell research in that center. You see a photograph of Sheila and Ria in the middle. They're the leading ladies in our organization. And you also see an image below where we're having a meeting of Project Mercury. That's where FSHD Europe collaborates with the other continental and national patient organizations, FSHD Canada, FSHD Brazil, FSHD Global, and FSHD Society, in order to contribute to trial readiness and treatment readiness. And I think if you would involve in the activities of your national patient organization, or if you're able to start a national patient organization on FSHD, or whether you have if you would rather be active in FSHD Europe, it's not only that you're going to provide your time and talents to these organizations, you're also receiving a lot of it because you're learning much more about your disease. You're going to meet very inspiring people. You're going to do things you've never done before, and it will be very enriching in that way. So really encourage you to become active and think about, what am I good at and what can I contribute to the developments in the future years, because we need you.
And just to reiterate that message, we do need you. We currently have 14 members in 12 countries. We've got beginnings of a relationship with the European Medicine Agency, but we need to have 14 European members from 14 countries. And then we have a more recognized status with the European Union.
And that's when EMA, so the European Agency for Drug Administration, will accept our voice if we have at least half of the European Union member states in our organization, FSHD Europe.
So yes, and what I would say is we also have some volunteer role vacancies, and on our poster board, which I think is over there, there's more information about that, so you can understand more about how you could volunteer with us and the opportunities available.
So that's the end of our presentations, and is there time for questions?
Thank you. Yes, of course.
Yes.
Can you hear me, everyone? Is it? No, you can. Now you can. Okay. Just before we start the Q&A session, I know we don't know each other very well, but I need a favor. Would you please join me into singing "And Very Happy Birthday" to Nicol? Happy birthday to you. Everyone, please. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nicol. Happy birthday to you. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.